I'm going to speak about my vision for the directing profession as we address the climate emergency. At SDUK, our vision is twofold. We are looking towards the future, but also at the present. We want all theatre makers to use their skill, know-how, artistry, and chutzpah to change not only how we approach aspects of our work, but also to influence our audiences and those around us. Change, a word that we know well. It is what theatre makers do. We are facilitators of change. We are also artists and leaders, and we can lead on this issue. Treating the planet with kindness trickles down to how we make work and ultimately how we treat one another. Whenever we talk about making change, the two immediate questions are, how much is it going to cost, and how am I going to fit it into my schedule? These are legitimate concerns, real challenges, but we are resourceful. Many of us at some point have had to cut an idea for one reason or another, and out of that disappointment, a more creative solution was found. Let us use that same ingenuity and determination when addressing the challenges we are now facing. So, the biggest thing that will help us meet these challenges is better pay and conditions. At the core of SDUK's mission is the fight for better pay and conditions for directors, choreographers, and movement directors. Better pay will allow us to have the time to do research, to explore, have conversations with our team and peers, to be inspired, and to come prepared on day one to implement change which benefits the planet, our creativity, and humanity. We are not Shell or ExxonMobil. We are not major polluters with massive carbon footprints, but we can and should play our part. Very recently, I've become aware of a freelance director employed by a major London theatre to direct a main stage show. At the first meeting, they were told that the theatre had signed up to the Green Book. Fantastic. But because the pay is so poor and the lead-in time so short, the director and their team didn't have the time, the capacity to do the research, to do the thinking, to make the production as sustainable as they would have liked, as they would have hoped. So we need to keep pushing for better pay and conditions so that we can make good and sustainable theater, not one or the other. Where do we begin? Let's start with the rehearsal room. A lot of them are overlit and overheated. If there's sufficient natural light, let's not turn on additional lighting until necessary, or cut down on the number of lights we do switch on. The same goes for heating. Ask to have the heating to be lowered or turned off until a later time. Make pots of tea instead of single cups. There's also the lovely social aspect of pouring tea from a pot for others. New York City public hospitals now serve all vegan meals. Patients and staff are happy because the food tastes better. The hospitals are happier because they have cut carbon emissions by 36%. Imagine if we as a profession, as an industry, did something similar. We would be punching above our weights in our contributions. In my rehearsals, I have introduced Vegan Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, I ask the company to eat vegan lunches and snacks. These suggestions do not mean that we don't hold the fossil fuel-burning multinationals or our governments to account. But we cannot wait for them to lead. We cannot count on them. As artists, we have immense power. Where we lead, others follow. The public wants us to lead on this. The Act Green 2023 report shows that 93% of audiences expect arts organizations to ensure that their buildings are as energy efficient as possible. The report also states that audiences believe we are not doing enough or feel that we're not communicating what we are doing efficiently. I am a trustee of Theatre Clwyd. Theatre Clwyd is in the midst of a major capital gains project, which is seeing a renovation of its theatres and facilities. They are not just modernizing, they are re-envisioning what it means to be a theatre in the 21st century. Here's an image of what the new building will look like. Overall, the ambition is exciting and around green initiatives inspiring. And that ambition is already up and running. Staff have access to electric bikes. This is great for performers and other freelancers joining the core company. Currently, 30% of their fleet of lorries and vans are hybrids. The new building will harness rainwater and solar energy. A gardener will be part of the core company. Bees will be kept. The new building will be gas-free. They're aiming to be carbon neutral, and the potential over the lifespan of the building is to be carbon positive. So my final page. Let's embrace the challenges we face and rise to meet them together. Too often we talk about making positive change, and then when we are faced with the reality of what that entails, we revert back to what already exists because it feels comfortable, easier. We cannot afford to do that with the climate emergency. We have to do the work and see it through. We have to adapt and change because this is the most important conversation we can or will have, because everything is at play. I get that this can feel overwhelming and that sometimes it feels like every week more and more is being asked of us. Well, we are asking a lot of each other because we have a lot to do. We have a lot to change.